everyone out there, and welcome into another fun-filled episode of Facts Not Feelings, or what we like to call start your weekend off early into a nice Labor Day weekend. So maybe no one's even watching. I don't know, but it's been an interesting week, and we're gonna cap it off with the best way I know how with Michael Cirillo. And I'm getting a nice thing right now on my StreamYard saying that it's not streaming to Facebook. So sorry, Facebook land. You're gonna have to hop over to another
You get the
platform.
replay.
Yeah, you get the replay, which for whatever reason, only on Facebook I'll get the replay and it says that my music's been muted. I don't know why. I've got all the rights to it, but you know what? Whatever. It's just whatever. I don't know what to do with that. So it's all good. Everyone, how are you doing? How is your week going? How is life? How is everything? Michael and I were talking offline. It's been a crazy week. I need this weekend. I think a whole lot. Michael, what about you?
How dare you be a real person?
Shit, come on, Brooke.
What are you doing? Hey, I thought you said this was broadcasting on social. We need to show them the best parts of our fake lives.
You know what? I'm just going to post just the 10% of my 90% of the rest of my life. Yes.
That's it. I just want to see the cleanest part of your house.
I just want to see the parts that don't make it into the photo album. Exactly. Oh, Michael, one of the many reasons why I love you. I love you.
Shit.
All right. For anyone that doesn't know Michael, I don't know. Honestly, you probably haven't been on any type of social at all. Michael got an insane resume, and has it been 25? You said years you've been in the auto industry at this point.
20 going on our 23rd. Yeah, we're in that weird 23 to 24 transition phase.
What's the 20-year anniversary? Is it diamond? Is it wood? What is 20-year anniversaries?
Bald, skin color. I had hair when I started.
Yes. It turned to gray and then it's gone.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
So true story on that. And I promise we will get into the show today. And we are getting to a very good topic, which we'll get to in a second. But before we all had we call it the old shit moment where we're like, oh, we got to do something. We got to get done and get into the car business. I worked with Broadway shows, and one of our stage manager had dark gray, like rich black hair. And by the end of the tour, it went from gray to fell out. That's how stressful the tour was.
He was so malnourished.
It was gone.
And people fantasize about having craft services. He's like, yeah, no, my hair's falling out.
Yes, so the Broadway tour was that stressful, and it eventually did come back. And I don't know how, but it did actually come back. But yes. So it does. Stress is a killer, ladies and gentlemen. Stress is a killer. So we diverted a little bit there, but yes, we do have Michael Cirillo on, and the massive resume that you have. Anyone that has listened to any podcast has most likely heard you. So we've got the Dealer Playbook, which is number one upon number one, top rated, and just killing it. So I know I do embarrass you a little bit about that, but I just thank you so much for having a platform that constantly moves the industry forward. You have everyone from Gary Vee to a little person like myself on your show, and I just thank you for the content you put out there because it is so needed. So thank you for that. You've got your Flex Dealer, CEO of Flex Dealer, and you have Don't Wait, Dominate book on Amazon. And in the show notes is the link, as always. Everyone click on that. Go get his book. You can never get enough Michael. I mean, come on, you can never get enough of this man over here. So, but today we are talking about maybe some opinions that aren't so popular, opinions you might not find on Clubhouse, and maybe just not believe in the hype. And you have been around and been doing the podcast thing for 10 years. You've interviewed over 500 experts in their fields. So I'm actually just going to turn it over to you a little bit of just some of the things that that you have found throughout your time talking to people, that what we can learn from the past and how that is going to catapult us and keep us in this auto industry and where you see it going.
Well, that's great. And let's just pause for a minute. Just little old me on the show. First of all, you're probably taller than Gary Vee, so it's not even possible for you to sit in his shadow.
Oh, well, thank you.
Okay, it's not just a little old me. It's you. You were on the show, and I was delighted to have you. The thing that's been really interesting as I've done the Dealer Playbook. We're going into our 10th year. interviewing all these people from both inside the auto industry and outside the auto industry, getting the real nitty gritty tactical look at the industry over the last decade in particular, um, but also from those that are can look at it objectively as a customer, as an allied industry, from a different vertical completely. I started to pick up on common themes about what it takes to be good at this game. And I was really intrigued as I started to pick up on some commonalities that regardless of what happens in the world, these common attributes, character traits, practices seem to always shine through and carry us through. And so, just I think because of who I am and how I was raised and what I believe and my faith and my outlook on life, I tend to disregard hype really quickly, which is a really weird thing to say as a marketer because like I should be all about the hype train. Um, but I I'm trying to find the right word. I tend to find more joy in authenticity. The hype wears out real quick.
Mm.
In the last 22, 23, going on 24 years, like I've seen so much hype come and go, right?
Mhm.
And the problem with it is we all get excited, our adrenaline pumps for a minute, and then and then the level of discouragement on the back end of the failed hype is so critical that we all become cynics.
Oh,
We
yeah.
all go, dude, every vendor in the car space is crooked, right? That's how we arrive at places like that. No, just stop trusting the hype so much. Ask better questions. Look at history. Um, so there's things that I pick up on as I interview these people. And I want to just drop one of the first ones because it's not just a buzz in the car industry. It's a tried, tested, and proven thing that actually exists in the world where real people exist, and it's build relationships of trust.
Hold up, what, you're saying to build relationships? What? Are you talking crazy right
What?
now?
Like, yeah,
What?
right, Brooke? What a novel idea. Wait, you mean the tool that I just bought that was promised to me would lasso the sun, the moon, and the stars?
That I saw in a 20 group? What? It doesn't do that?
This, you mean it doesn't do all the things? You mean it's not Betty the robot from the Jetsons?
Shocker.
What? You mean I have bigger problems? Like I can't get my team to buy into this thing, therefore we will not even scratch the tip of the surface of the iceberg of utilizing the tool?
Wait, slapping a button on my website doesn't fix the process or my people? What? Are you talking
Right,
crazy talk right now?
right. So we did a study, and this was going back a couple years ago, looking at common themes throughout every episode of the Dealer Playbook podcast. A solid 60+% of all episodes, all interviews I conducted, the business leader. And we're talking about New York Times bestselling authors, the Grant Cardones, the Gary V's, the Marcus Sheridans, the like Lisa Copelands of the world, people that have excelled, the Brian Benstocks who have excelled to the highest level of their game. The number one thing that they all have in common is they say, without relationships, you're lost. You're nothing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That's why some teams that have no tools outperform those that have tools. It's why the Ali Ritas can continue doing what they're doing. And so many of us try to dissect an Ali Rita or a Frank Criniti. And how are they selling 100+ cars per month? How did he beat the record of car sales? And you get him on your show and you ask him that question, and he says, what? I just focus on building relationships.
Yeah,
Now, there is an inherent problem with that, Brooke.
yeah.
You have to be a good person.
What? You have to be authentic and true? What?
Yeah, it's like you have to think about somebody else other than yourself. And
Yeah.
by the way, I'm not pointing fingers here. I'm in the same boat. I have to constantly take inventory and consider and get clarity for myself. What does it actually mean to be a good person?
Yeah, and to constantly try to improve each and every day and not just expect, well, I want you to be better, but oh, I can just sit back and count my money or do whatever or count the bills I got to pay and not worry about investing in my people.
Right. And we see this tried, tested, and proven from practitioners inside of our industry. You and I both know David Long. If people don't know
Mhm.
David Long, they need to know David Long. Why?
And
Because as a strategic leader, he not only is an incredible practitioner in the industry, he's a great leader. He knows how to hold people accountable and has one of the warmest hugs you've ever had in your entire life. He's
yes.
figured it out. You don't think people like David Long are thinking as they commute home, what can I do differently tomorrow? How can I lift my people a little bit better? How can I give them a sense of ownership so that they get excited to get out of bed tomorrow? They're constantly asking themselves these questions.
Oh, for sure.
But
Yeah.
think of how unsexy this is what I'm saying.
Well, I don't know. We could dress it up in a nice little dress or a little tuxedo, put a little bow tie on it. I think we could.
Yeah, and it's funny. You mentioned my book earlier, and we were kind of laughing, or I said, "Here's something funny." Before you reminded me, I wrote a book. But in that book, I talk about building relationships of trust and the importance of such, and I wrote that thing 5 or 6 years ago.
That's great.
And but the thing is, my only critics that I've been able to see say, "Here he is saying to do the thing, but doesn't tell you how." Bro, if I have to tell you how to be a good person, you
Yeah.
suck.
Yeah. You shouldn't. Yeah. You got bigger problems, buddy, if you
I
don't know how to do
can't
that.
because that we could go on a wormhole there. But that's a common thread. Build relationships of trust. I've experienced as I've sought to seek a proof point to my own thesis about be a good person and build relationships of trust. There's been a lot of ups and downs. I have to say, you trust people as an offensive play, and you continually get let down, and you start to wonder, did I make the right choice in trusting people? Do I have enough staying power to trust the next person, or am I torn and tattered and tainted?
Oh, yeah.
But as an agency owner, as a tech guy, to have clients, to have partners who are going on their 19th year as a partner of ours, I think I've discovered a proof point to my thesis that build relationships of trust actually stands the test of time.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. And when you have that partnership, and anyone that's heard me speak for 2 seconds know that I will always make a huge point. There's a huge, huge difference between vendors and partners. And when you've been on both sides, you know that when you're on the other side and you get called a vendor, you're like, okay, we're getting kicked out pretty soon. So when
Right.
you are that partner and you have that partnership, that trust is there because of so many reasons. You automatically know you have their needs at first and foremost in your mind. It's how can I help you? How can I serve you? So when you take that in, even into, I was talking to Isaac with the soda over the last couple weeks, and we were just talking back and forth, and he was helping me with something, and I just said, hey, just thank you so much, thank you so much. He just goes, hey, if I can't take my knowledge and help someone else, what good is it? And that's the whole point. Whether it's with your clients, whether it's with someone in the industry or your fellow neighbor, I mean, you should constantly be looking to say, how can I help someone? How can I serve that person? And that will translate into everything that you do, whether like I said, in business or in your personal life. So with Flex Dealer, it's the same thing, is that your customer and your client is going to understand that, hey, this person is true. And if you try to fake that, man, that is seen through so quickly, so quickly. And we talked about social media earlier, when people are only posting the good things, and you're like, oh, they're doing really great, but really it's just they're sitting in front of the Corvette, and their real car is a Pinto. I mean, people can see through that. It may look great and it may sound great, but when you're not authentic, that is seen through. And those relationships, like you said, it just the fall from grace is so big, and that's really, really difficult to overcome that because that
Right.
trust is broken. Yeah.
We saw this with Clubhouse. Holy crap! There's in the early days. So January 3rd, 2021, Glenn Lundy calls me. He and I are pals. He says, "Hey, you remember that thing we talked about in the car that one day?" I say, "Yeah." He's like, "I'm doing it tomorrow on this thing." He's like, "You got Clubhouse? I'm doing this thing. I want you to be a part of it." I'm like, "Let's go." So, here I am, kind of an original staffer of his Breakfast with Champions thing. And I get on the stage and I'm like, whoa, and there's tons of hype and there's 2,000 people in the room and this, that, and my Instagram's blowing up and all these things. And then something happened. I realized, wait, everyone's a millionaire now?
Yeah.
Wait, everyone's an expert now?
Mm.
Wait, everyone's a life coach now? And it wasn't just that, not to sound like a cynic, it's that I started getting account after account after account of people who are like, "I hired so and so to do the thing, and boy, are they a fraud." This is what happens when you just buy into hype. It never pans out. It never pans out. The thing never works the way you think it should. The person never follows through the way you think they should. And history has taught us time and time again. We don't have to look that far into our own life experiences to say, wait, maybe more is required on behalf of both parties before we establish a real solid working relationship with each other. But I can't blindly follow the hype.
Yeah. And if you're not doing your due diligence beforehand, it's the same thing. We go back to, hey, I saw the shiny new object at a 20 group or whatever it may be. If you're not doing your due diligence beforehand to say, hey, is this a true and act? We'll go back to facts, not feelings. Is if you're not doing your due diligence to say, is this a legitimate company, a legitimate person, a legitimate software, whatever it may be, or do we even need this? That's a huge one.
Right.
It's just that, well, yeah, we do it because it's cool. What?
Right.
No, go back. I always say go back to reverse engineering the problem. Is it even a problem? If it's not broken, why the hell are you trying to fix it? I mean,
Right.
there's so many tools out there that do a really good job, but do you even need it? It's
Right.
I mean, I'll talk with people. They're like, "Oh yeah, we need to get into TikTok." Great, TikTok's a great thing to have. Who is going to actually do this? Have you made a game plan up for it? And I'm all for you doing social media, but who in house is going? Oh, we're going to hire someone outside to do it. Okay, run that by me one more time. How is that going to be implemented? And
Right.
then, or whatever it may be. That's just one example. But there's all these different things. So go back and think the process to reverse engineer it before you put anything new or implement anything new. Talk to all the powers that be and make sure the communication portion is there, because too often it's just, oh, we're just going to do it, and no one is even looped in on what that thing is going to be, and it just falls flat on its face, and it's like, oh, it
Right.
didn't work, so let's just cancel it. Well, no shit, it didn't work. You didn't put any process behind it. So
Right.
yeah.
Well, not only that, and by the way, this is not a this is not isolated to, oh, look at all these dumb dealers.
No.
That's not
Mm-mm.
this at all. What this is like, most recently, so we're looking at expanding, a real inside look here for a minute. So we're looking at expanding our footprint. We had talked about the podcast. I want to ramp things up, not for any other desire, but I just want to see if I can reach more, try and impact more, try and bring value to more. In so doing, we look to our past and the failures that we've had, and why didn't that work? Was it because of the thing, or was it because I didn't establish a workflow? Was it because we didn't have the bandwidth to actually support the thing?
Yep.
What was it? So we look internally and we say, well, let's get clarity on why that didn't work. To your point about, not having implemented the processes, it's about taking a critical inward look first to say, maybe I do see value in the thing. Maybe it actually does solve a problem. But as a point of self awareness, do I have what it takes right now to fully adopt it so that I can get the intended result? You see, as marketers, the claims that we make are best case scenario claims. You know who's notorious for this? Uh, uh, um, MLM companies, multi level marketing companies.
Oh yeah.
You could
Millionaire
have
overnight.
yeah, like our CTO Dan is in Utah, just south of Salt Lake City,
Oh, that's like
right? So like
that's breadwinner, right? That's like the Mecca right
that,
there.
that's the Mecca, right? Like you know, you go to church on Sunday and you got 200 new clients, kind of a thing. And
Door sales done. Yes.
yeah, right. And you roll into the church parking lot in Utah, and there's USANA and Nature's Sunshine logos and
Vivid.
everything.
You're getting.
But what do they say? So they sell you on the you could have the car and the blah, 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 blah. And by the way, I'm not knocking MLMs. I'm just saying what they don't sell you. They sell you on the hype. They don't sell you on what we're really asking you to do is become an entrepreneur.
Yep.
And do you have what it takes to be an entrepreneur? To do your own taxes, to be a salesperson, to be a public speaker, to hire and fire, to train? Do you have all of these skills that are actually required to do the thing? But what you see at the bottom of their marketing is what? This is a 0.05% of people who do this achieve the numbers that we're talking about. It's important for all of us to know that when vendor A says get a 363% increase in leads, that it is a best case scenario. They're pulling the number from the environment that was the perfect storm. That's why they're
Vacuum.
sharing it with you.
Yeah.
It is not about them though. They have to do that. They're trying to grow their business like anybody's trying to grow. However, it is then on you as their sparring partner to say, do I have what it takes to create the ideal? I should be asking, well, what was the ecosystem like in order to achieve these types of results? And what can I expect inside of my current ecosystem? And take that iterative approach to growth, but it's never about blindly following the hype. The hype leaves you disappointed if you don't consider those factors.
Oh, 100%. And I think as well is that it's too often that we may become discouraged that, oh, well, I screwed up, therefore I failed and I just need to
Right.
give up. Well,
Hmm.
no. I mean, I know myself that I have screwed up more times than I can count. I'm going to continue to screw up. I mean, just yesterday I was shooting a video and I've done this probably 3 times where I forget to mute the phone. So what happens when I'm going live? Oh, the notifications come through. Obviously, I do this live. I can tell everyone everything will go right. The minute I hit go live, something breaks. Just today, Facebook's still not going live. Like it just happens. And
Right.
maybe it is, maybe it's not. I can tell you that it's telling me it's not. But things are going to happen. So you try to improve. As long as the trajectory is still going in the right direction, you're doing okay. Just try to learn from the other. As long as you're in general happy with the performance and your team is going in the right direction, that is what matters. And I think going back to the hype is we get caught up in what you and I like to call, and some others, the buzzword bingos of all these things that are, oh, this and this and this. And okay, what are those though? Like you can say that you have X, Y, and Z of those buzzword bingos, but are you actually doing that? Or are you just saying that because that's what everyone is talking about? And therefore, to be relevant, you're just going to talk about it. But improve on the actual items and have those actual items and do them and implement them each day. So just continue to improve each day. At the end of the, that's the main bullet point that I just kind of went off there on a tangent there, but that's what I do. So yeah.
It's it makes me think of, look, I get it. It took 1,500 years to go from a chariot and horses to a buggy and horses. But then it only took 200 years to go from horse and buggy to stealth fighter jets. So, we are seeing like 100 years of innovation every 5 years now. Like think about the fact that in the last 200 years, not only did we go from horse and buggy to stealth fighter jets, we also went to artificial intelligence thinking it's a sentient being, and the developers having to be like, oh balls, and where's the cord? Unplug this deal. So progression is happening fast. However, there are some commonalities that stay true and have remained since the dawn of time. You can get on the hype train about metaverse and AI and all of these things, but you know what's still going to exist? People.
Mm-hmm.
And what we need to ask is, am I willing to buy a car or a house or talk to a lawyer who's a cartoon in a 3D world dressed like a banana.
And some people will. Some people will. Like metaverse, yes, it's still.
Yeah, Better Call Saul. That's the kind of lawyer you're going to be talking to. He's sitting in the back of a nail salon.
Great show, by the way.
Yeah,
Loved it.
right.
Yes.
But you're right. Some people will. But the key word there is people. Because even on the other side of that avatar, dressed like Donkey Kong or like a banana, is a person who
Yep.
exists in the world, breathing oxygen. And you're still going to have to build a relationship. The metaverse just became a different vehicle by which you built the relationship.
Yes.
But as a leader, it's incumbent upon me to build that relationship with my team.
Yep.
And going one step further, if I don't do that in my own home first, you're a poser at work.
Oh, yeah.
That's the harder thing. The harder thing is at home.
Yes.
To love unconditionally, to be patient unconditionally, to try and try and try and communicate and communicate. If you can't be a leader in your own home, what makes you think you're going to be a good leader at work? That's the easier place to figure it out. Because you can be whoever you think you need to be there.
And if they can feel comfortable enough at work, and I want to say it was Gary V that said this. If it's not, I'm going to give him credit for it. But making work feel like home, and that is as the leader and as the owner
Yeah, he
of the
stole
company.
that from me.
Okay, that's
I'm
what it
just
was.
kidding.
We're going to give you credit for it then. Is that to make it feel like that, so they do feel, and that is the job as the owner and as the curator of the entire business, is to make it feel comfortable enough that they feel like it is a home, so they can have those conversations. Because I know we have all been in a workplace where you just knew that there was just certain things that you could never say, you could never do, you couldn't go and ask certain things, you couldn't go to the manager, whatever it could be. You just knew you weren't safe, and you didn't have a safe place to say stuff. So having that place where you can do that, and man, being able to have your employees come and tell you to have careful critique you and be able to take that, man, that's incredible, because you will grow more and more and more when you can take that. And so, yeah, I 100% agree with that.
So what it begs to ask the question, which is kind of what we're talking about here. What's left when the hype dies?
Yep.
That's the piece that I'm really interested in. As I look at the individuals that I've interviewed over the last decade, that's the piece that they're thinking most critically about. What happens? What's left when the hype dies? Is my house in order? Did I build it on the rock or on the sand? Right? I get it. A renovation is much sexier than rebuilding the foundation of a house.
What?
However, right, we've all seen the home reno shows. We love them. You're gonna do this in the new bathroom and the archway and what? Oh, we got a problem.
Yeah.
Did you see that on the foundation? It's all faulty. We're not going to be able to build the bathroom now. And it's every episode's the same formula. It's like, and then it's the interview where they're looking off to the fake interviewer and they're like, we didn't anticipate that there would be a foundation problem, but now I guess we have to fix that and say goodbye to the bathroom. It's like, first of all, who are you looking at? Second of all, you didn't see this coming every episode. You've done 8,000 of these episodes. You didn't think to check the foundation, for crying out loud.
It's true. And I go, try the sentence one more time, is that it's a Friday and I might need something stronger than water over here, is that with that foundation, the minute that you see a crack, that foundation needs to be ripped up, because the minute there's a crack, that water always finds a way to funnel in and find that crack. And when it freezes, that crack is going to widen and widen, eventually split, and that concrete is split. So to try to do a renovation, you've got now a cracked foundation, and you can't build a house on that. So you've got to rip that foundation up and start brand new. So just have a solid foundation. You've got to have a solid foundation.
And look, how does that feed into the future? Better get your house in order.
Yep.
When your house is in order, when you are prepared, you will not fear. Preparation mitigates fear. If you're concerned about the unknowns, get your house in order.
Yeah.
Are my people bought in? Am I bought in? As an employee, am I bought in? If not, what would it require for me to be bought in? It's rarely about money. But get your house in order. Preparation eliminates fear. And look what happens. You know, a lot of people, I find this hilarious. I'm no economist, okay? But
But
it cracks me up that we breezed through the recession of 2020 and most people don't even know there was a recession in 2020.
I know. Yeah. And that,
But all of a sudden, ooh, what's coming up in United States in November? You got some midterms coming up, and everyone's hanging on. Don't announce a recession until after the midterm.
and then it'll magically disappear.
Right. Yeah, and or they're going to officially announce it. And what happens when we know what's going to happen? Everyone's going to panic. Holy crap! I've been spending all my money. I don't know. Human nature. Prepare now. History can teach us. The last 5 to 10 recessions lasted between 5 and 24 months and had 10 to 15 years of solid growth on the back end. If you're not prepared for the next 5 to 24 months, so when?
Yeah.
When?
Stop spending. Stop spending.
So you can chase hype, but if your house is in order, if you're not equipped to actually accomplish the ideal of whatever it is that the hype is suggesting you can achieve, you're going to continue to set yourself up for disappointment. Focus on what matters most. And this is the beauty about the car industry, is just because we're all trying to sell the same type of product doesn't mean we all have the same definition of what matters most.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things I love about this industry, is how big and vast it is. You can be a 2-client business and enjoy a lifestyle that you enjoy, or you can be a multi-billion-dollar company and everything in between. There's so much room, but it's about focusing on what matters most, getting clarity and taking the actions necessary. That is what all of my guests have in common. That's what I really firmly believe in, that I have proof to my own thesis for. And it's where I see we need to be thinking moving into not just the coming months, but well into the future.
I love it. I don't know if it can be summed up any more than what you just said there. I think that is the epitome of everything. I think that's the mic drop moment right there. I love it, Michael. Yeah, 100%. I just thank you so much for everything you said, and once again, everything that you're doing, and your voice that continues to echo and reverberate throughout the entire industry. Just thank you for all that you're doing, and for being on the show. I really appreciate it. So
thanks for having me. It was fun.
You're welcome. And with that, we're going to jump into a little bit different. I've got a couple of questions that I have not asked anybody else, because this is a little bit of an international flavor to to the light around here. So before we get into that, I've got to know, is there anywhere in America that has good poutine? Didn't see that coming, did you?
I was not expecting a poutine. Not that I know of.
Okay. All right.
Fun fact, food in America, oh boy, here, I'm going to get canceled. Food in America is disgusting.
Whoa. Have you not been to Chicago, my friend?
No. I'm saying food in America is disgusting. It tastes so processed and so like it feels like you got hair on your tongue after you're done eating it. That's been a big, weird eye opener. So you know when like people go to Europe, and they're like, you have to try that bakery, the food, everything's. Dude, that's Canada. Canada's got the same.
I've been in Canada a lot, so I'm trying to distinguish the differences.
Canada's got the. So for example, you can go to Costco here and buy like 24 chicken drumsticks for like $6. In Canada, that thing would be $30. And the reason is because, I mean, in population wise, we can afford to grow that chicken to full maturity without the use of drugs. So, so what is like certified organic here is just like the regular food in Canada. And then on top of that, we have just organic, like real
Okay.
organic. So food, I know now the variety of food, don't get me wrong, I love. I can hit a deep dish. I can hit a New York slice. Like, don't get me wrong. But in contrast to the just natural, I don't know, efficacy of ingredients, dude,
So,
yeah. Like the food here is different. The food here
okay.
tastes different, much more
Okay.
processed tasting. So poutine, I don't know if I'm not a huge poutine fan in
Oh, okay.
Canada. I
All
don't
right.
know if I'd be willing to try it here. It'd be some weird like brisket loaded
Right.
something. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I feel like I've got to like we have multiple Michelin rated restaurants here in Chicago. So I
I
feel
know
like
this is my
but this
thing. I want to ask Gordon Ramsay, compared to the produce you work with in the UK or in Europe, what is it like in the USA in
okay.
contrast? That's what I want to know. Because yeah, he's still Michelin. It still tastes good. Don't get me wrong, but it's disgusting compared to Canada. I'm
Okay.
just
I
saying.
will say some I had some I can't remember where it was. This was a couple years ago. And it was incredible sushi. Like I love just about any type of food, but
Right.
awesome sushi and it was some random place in Canada. I don't know
It
what
was
it was,
like
but
in Saskatchewan. It was
it
landlocked.
it it was Saskatchewan. I might have been. I don't know, like Regina or something like that. I don't know
First
where
of
it
all,
was.
what a weird name too. Like,
Right?
now I will say that America has such cooler names. I know maybe this makes me sound like treasonous or whatever, but like, everything's like Sierra Vista and like, you know, like even
Regina.
Canada's got Regina,
I go,
Saskatchewan.
I go, is this really the name of this place? Like, what? I remember just driving, there's like the massive teepee. I go, did I just drive by the world's biggest teepee? Like, where the hell am I?
Yeah, Moose Jaw. You know what I mean? Like we got and all of those happen to be in Saskatchewan, so I'm sorry for my friends in Saskatchewan. But like, you know what I mean? Like America's got cool names. Texas, Chicago. They got this like yeah to them. New York. Anyways, that's my little rant.
Yeah, it's all good. But I do love Canada. There was a period where I was there in a 2 month span. I was in like all over Canada about every other week. I was there a ton. It felt like so. Big fan of Canada. So
You're near
anyway,
Canada though. Are you in Chicago? Are you in Illinois? Where are you?
I lived downtown Chicago for about 7 years, and now we're in the suburbs of
Wow.
Chicago. So yeah, I
And
miss
is a
the
deep
city.
dish more like a lasagna than a pizza?
Oh, I've never heard someone compare it to a lasagna.
Because it's
Uh,
just like a stack of
it's like a people will say it's like a pie, and it does take a bit to get used to it. Well, some people will say. I personally, the first time I had it, I had the wrong restaurant, the wrong brand, and so I didn't like it.
mm,
And then Chris introduced me to Lou Malnati's, and I was like, oh, okay, this is real deep dish. So Lou's and Giordano's are like to me are the two best. There's other ones that
right.
are good as well, but those are the two best. But I love New York style
I
pizza.
gotta like I need to know the history of the deep dish because as an Italian, like pizza is simple, right? We don't
It
load up
is.
pizzas like we do in North America where it's got to have 78 different meats on it.
Yeah,
It's like fresh dough, a little bit of sauce, a little bit of cheese,
right.
some prosciutto, some like, just a couple of little things. You throw it
Making
in
me
the oven, a nice margarita. But here it's like, it must have 38 slices of perfectly distributed slices of pepperoni. It must have 12 pieces of ham. It must
throw
have
pineapple on there. I'm like, what's up with the
Canadian
pineapple?
pineapple.
I don't understand the pineapple
Anyway,
thing. But I will say during COVID, that was one thing that I found out I started making was Italian, or not Italian, pizza, margarita pizza, and we have the
mm,
stone, and I have to admit,
ooh.
I'm pretty freaking good at making it. It's really, really good. It's really thin, but we just do the fresh basil, mozzarella, so it's like
See? Yep, a little bit of
it's
bacon.
pretty good.
See?
So if
You
you're
get
you're
it.
here, I will happily make it for you.
I'm
It's
worried that a deep dish. I've never had a Chicago deep dish. I'm intrigued by it. I'll be in Chicago in a couple of months,
let me know.
uh, and I'm concerned it's going to give me ferocious heartburn.
It probably will. My cousin's right here for the first time a couple years back, and he just goes, "Oh," I go, I'm telling you, Sean, you're only gonna want one slice. Don't order the big one." I go, "For you, get like a small." He's like, "Oh, Brooke." I go, "Sean, I'm telling you, don't get the medium." He ends up getting a medium. He's like, "I should have listened to you, Brooke." I go, "Dude, I try to tell you."
You're rolling them down the
I'm
street.
like, dude, what are you doing? So yeah, but anytime, yeah, my family comes out and it's like tour guide Barbie, we do the whole
Oh,
archaeological
that's
tour.
awesome.
We do the pizzas and our favorite steak, like steaks in Chicago they're awesome. So I love our steaks here. And yeah, there's a little fun fact about that is the water that makes the steaks in Chicago and the pizza. Why, if someone tries to make the pizza in whatever another state, it doesn't work as well as because it's the water of
Oh,
Chicago.
interesting.
Little things you guys didn't know about facts,
See?
not feelings. We get into food here, so there you go.
Yeah. All triggered from a question about poutine.
I know, right?
Wow.
Oh, but anyways, okay. So how can obviously people that are watching your URL, that's the customized URL for all of our guests, is up on the screen in the show notes. But anyone that's actually listening on in podcast on, how can they find you, Michael?
Yeah, go check out the podcast if you haven't already. The Dealer Playbook. You're gonna see this face made for radio on the front cover. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, Michael Cirillo. You just got to search my name. And of course, we'd love for you to go check out flexdealer.com. We got some cool stuff going on over there. I love build relationships, and we're having a lot of fun working with our client partners, helping them what I call untangling the box of Christmas lights.
Love it.
Right. So we can move on to getting the high performance that they're looking for. And we've got a cool inventory tool that we've launched across about 30 plus rooftops, helping them get their inventory on the market quick. Like not wait 60 days, like get it 15-minute onboarding and your inventory is ready to rock and roll, kind of a thing. So we're having some fun over there, flexdealer.com.
I love it. And you're also into, I know with Fixed Ops Roundtable, you're doing helping out Ted Ings as well. Heard
Yep.
your voice on that, so he's a little bit of everywhere. I mean, pretty much just tune in anything auto, and you'll probably see Michael at this point. So
yeah, and you get sick of me, and then we'll get to know each other, and you'll be sick of me, but tolerant. Tolerant.
It's all good. All good. All right. So what are your favorite things to do outside of work or unwind to do outside of work?
Let me turn this on you.
Oh no. Oh no.
Based on what you know, what do you what is your perception of what you think I would be into outside of work? I'm interested.
Well, I do know you're a big family man. I know that for sure. So I would
Uh-huh.
say that's first and foremost. You're a big family person.
Mhm.
Man, that's a good question. I obviously not
Has
eat
anyone
American.
ever turned it back to you and been like, enough about me, let's talk about you. What do you think about me?
I get a lot of times, what shoes are you wearing right now? I get that a
Yeah.
lot. But I would say that you're definitely not into it. You're not eating American food. I can tell you that much after this conversation. You're not
Maybe by
ordering
necessity.
Hello Fresh from America.
You want to see legit the shoes I'm wearing? This will tell you a lot about what you need to know. I just pulled a shoe off my foot. What would you say?
So
Because
based on what I saw,
this goes full circle back to where we started about social media.
so based on what I saw in, I think it was Napa, you had
Mhm.
some like black. I don't know if it was Italian
You are
leather.
a shoe person.
I shoe
You're
contact
ready?
before eye contact. See, flip flops. So right now I have my Uggs on, but I did
All
a show.
right.
I did a show earlier, so I had to have this on to prove that I was wearing Jordans.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, so I had two pairs of shoes down here just in case.
That's awesome.
The show's went off the rails.
I enjoy creating.
Yes.
So during the pandemic, where everyone's panicked, I'm like, I'm going to use this opportunity to teach myself some new skills. So I've always known how to cook, but I wanted to get even more intentional about it. So I love cooking, but I wanted to learn. Like I'm the kind of guy where I'm like, I don't want to just learn to make Chinese food. I want it to be like restaurant quality Chinese. Like I'm always like, I gotta try and So I got intentional about learning, kicking up my cooking game. So I enjoy cooking. I took up woodworking and started building furniture and doing stuff like that. Ride motorcycles and just whatever the family's doing. So
Nice.
I'm a musician, so I, play piano, guitar, drums, bass, all that kind of fun stuff. And fun side note, before the car business, I worked in the music industry, sound engineer by trade. So
Yeah.
there you go.
That's pretty cool. So I'll send you a link to a person I follow, and he takes this incredible woodworker. Say that 10 times fast. But he builds, and none of it's stained, none of it's painted, and he just does these incredible. I'm actually trying to get him on the show here. He was booked all last month, and he does like whether it's Air Jordans or he did one of Kobe Bryant's face, Michael
Oh,
Jordan's face.
cool.
It is phenomenal, and it's like every time I look at him, like, how is this not stained or painted? Absolutely phenomenal. So I'll shoot it over your way. Pretty snazzy. Pretty snazzy.
We're gonna find out it's like Nick Offerman or
I
something like
know.
that.
I think it's called like Happy Life or something like that.
Okay,
But
that's
it's pretty,
awesome.
it's
You know
pretty
what I
snazzy.
find though? This is fun, useless side note that has nothing to do with anything. I find certain woodworkers actually don't like staining wood. Like they appreciate the just natural look of the wood. Maybe a little bit of oil,
Yeah.
but like that's what I find. Whereas I'm like, as my first order of business, I will change the color of this entire thing.
We're
Yeah,
gonna make this pink. Why not?
exactly.
It's so true. Yeah, pretty much. Okay, let's go with whether it's in your daily life or in work. Which, yeah, daily life or work. What is something you're constantly having to distinguish facts from feelings?
Oh boy.
Oh, dropping the hard one there.
Um,
I think that's the number one response I get is, oh goodness, oh boy.
oof.
Oof.
Well, here's what I think. Here's what I think I know, and what I know I think. My feelings don't matter
I like it.
because, you know, we the world media is trying to perpetuate this idea of division.
Mhm.
When in our hearts we all know we probably have more in common with one another than we're willing to admit.
Yeah.
And there's this bit of our human nature where we're constantly forced into situations where we have to size one another up. And in addition to that, because we must have an opposing view in order to validate our position on things, we either we feel the need to either agree or disagree with people. And what I've come to learn in my own journey, and that would be a whole other podcast talking about that, is that I don't have to agree or disagree with you. What I should do is agree that you believe what you believe. I should agree that you have a position that you care about. And so, in that, when talking about facts versus feelings, like facts are facts, they don't care about my feelings. And so I'm constantly, and I'm an emotional creature. I just revealed I've got Italian heritage. So, I can get heated with the rest of them. But, you know, I'm constantly cross-referencing my thoughts and emotions back to that one simple point that you're not feeling what I'm feeling and you will never feel what I feel. So therefore, if I'm trying to use my feelings to push a point across, it's not going to go anywhere. But what I can do is I can find common ground as I seek to build a relationship with you, whether you've got different political beliefs, different philosophical beliefs, moral beliefs. It doesn't really matter. I'm not talking about we need to be friends, but what I am talking about is I think for me, when I am consciously seeking to understand and then can come to a place of agreeance that you believe what you believe and that you believe in your position, then it's easier for me to move past that and move on to, happier stuff. And so that's what I think. Facts or feelings. That's how I try my best to navigate, maneuver through that. But it's really that. Like you and I, undoubtedly, if we talked long enough, we would find a place of opposing views.
Mhm.
However, I can go, I understand because I'm choosing to agree that you have a position, not trying to force myself to agree with your position. And in that, life is much more fulfilling and peaceful.
I and I 100% agree with that. Is to understand and to respect that person and respect that they have an opinion. You don't have to agree with it. If we all agreed, man, this world would be a really boring place. That is what
Mhm.
makes this world so great. Is we all do have different opinions. As long as your opinion is not hurting somebody else and doing dem- demeaning things to them, I don't care. Like,
If
just
we didn't have
understand.
differing opinions, there wouldn't be multiple buckets of ice cream in my freezer, and I love ice
Right.
cream.
Yes. Yes. It exactly 100%. That's why there. Yes. Yes. There's Dr. Pepper and there's Diet Dr. Pepper. I mean, even something as simple as that. So
Yeah,
yes,
that's right.
yes. So I love it. All right. Let's go with two more. Let's go with. You've obviously interviewed a lot of people and you've learned a lot. So I would say, what's some of the like the hardest lesson or some of the best advice that you could give your younger self?
Listen more.
Mm, yeah, agreed.
Uh, this show isn't about me, so close your mouth. You know what I mean? Like, um, and I see that now because I work with other podcasters now, and I do some coaching and help with their producing their shows. And right out of the gates, that's usually the first thing. I'm like, you need to stop talking. Yeah, it's your show, but it's not about you. It's about extracting what you can from your guest. It's about giving them that time. You have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Use them proportionately.
Yes. Oh man, that is life in general, my friend. Yeah, I love it when you're. Oh yeah, so yeah, you have two kids, and you're like, oh yeah, Billy and Susie. 2 minutes later, so you have any kids? Yeah, I didn't kill them off. They're still there. I'm pretty sure. So yeah, you'll never lose a client quicker when you don't listen to the person. So
Right.
please, unless with the intent to understand, not to rebuttal what the person just said.
That's right.
All right, let's finish up with what is your favorite car?
Oh, man. I have I have 2, and they're not in the way that most would consider. Maybe some would consider it in this light. The first one is a 1957 Chev Bel Air because that's the car that my mother learned how to drive on, and she loves them, and so I grew up she wasn't like a car person, but anytime we saw something, she'd be like, "I learned to drive on that car." And, I am a family man and I love my mother. So there's like a nostalgic affinity that I have knowing that one day, as grim as this sounds, when she passes, I'll be able to see a glimpse of her every time I consider it. It's like that sort of a thing. Um, the second one is um, Chevy Corvette.
Good choice.
And the reason, so, but not the ones now, like not this like Ferrari wannabe looking one.
They are pretty though.
They're pretty, but not that one. Like,
Okay.
kind of the, like, Stingray, kind of like,
Okay. That's 79.
yeah, and it's because when I was overcoming some mental health challenges and writing my vision in my vision goal book, that was one of those things that I put in there. And I don't fantasize it at all, but I'm like, at some point I'll probably own one of those, kind of a thing. But there you go. But I do love my trucks too. Do love
Okay.
my trucks. And you know what I realized about myself, Brooke? I was willing to go to the grave in my F-150, and then I got a Silverado, and I'm willing to go to the grave in the Silverado too.
Ooh.
And so now I'm like, I think I just like things. Or maybe I'm really easy to please. I don't know.
That, so is it the Silverado or is it the, I don't know. I just saw the commercial and it's great marketing. And
Mhm.
he's driving up and he gets a text or I think from his wife. And she's like, "Can you pick us up at the bottom of the trail?" And he's like, "Sure." And he pulls up and all of a sudden it's like the panic because he's looking around at his truck and his pickup truck and he's like sees it's all leather and it's all the cool gadgets. And his wife and the kids pull up have you seen this? Stop me if you've seen this
Nope.
commercial. And he pulls up and he sees the kids and they're on their bikes and it's all muddy and nasty. And he just locks the doors automatically. And it's like, you're not getting in. And then like, the voiceover goes, even if even if it makes you forget that you have a truck and treat it like a truck. And then they finally get in. I was like, that's actually good marketing. Cause like the trucks now are so pretty. They're so pretty.
Mhm.
They're very luxurious. So yeah.
Now, the other harder part of that is if you could only choose between a Silverado and an F-150, what kind of motorcycle would I buy?
Oh, okay. Do you have an
'Cause,
answer?
all I know is the debate about no, I don't. Any motorcycle will do for me.
So are you
Any
talking
motorcycle.
what when you say motorcycle, you're not are you talking Harley? Or are you talking like a
Could be.
okay.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Oh, definitely not a scooter. The saying in the motorcycle world is real men ride with their legs apart. So there's my cancel culture statement of the hour. Um,
I won't cancel you, I promise.
but no, I love riding motorcycles. I've ridden motorcycles since I was 16 or 17 years old, and I think I've realized in this question that I am brand agnostic. I will ride if I like it. I don't care if it's the cheap whatever make. If it's comfortable and it fits me, I'm going to ride that thing. Um, and so uh, I desire to live in warmer climates where maybe I don't even need a car. I can just ride motorcycles because if Star Trek taught us anything, and I'm no Trekkie, but I do come from a province that has a town devoted to Star Trek called Vulcan, Alberta, where they have the annual Captain Kirk's been there, all that kind of deal. It's that in the future, all the things they got right about predicting the future, Captain Kirk still rode a gas-powered motorcycle.
This is true. This
Vroom,
is
vroom. So there you go.
I just saw an entire like clip go through my head of you just on a motorcycle going across the screen.
It's just me. I'm just gonna be giddy. Yeah,
Oh my
that's all you hear
goodness.
inside my helmet is me giggling
Oh my
like a
gosh.
little school kid.
Does your wife ride motorcycles with you? That's a
So, when Top Gun came out,
which one? The real one?
1986 Top
Okay, the
Gun.
real one. Okay, yeah.
Several things, several life goals that did not ever get accomplished, some that did. First time I saw that movie, I was a little kid, and I knew from that moment on I would be a naval aviator, as I'm sure there are kids now in 2022 who are like, I will fly jets off of aircraft carriers.
Yeah.
The second goal, so I didn't do that one. The second goal
It's like gold
was
on
to
completed.
ride motorcycles. The third goal, unknowingly to me, but the universe just had a way of making it happen, was to marry a gorgeous blonde. The fourth goal was to ride that gorgeous blonde to the marina and make out on the back of my motorcycle. This I got the motorcycle, so I did my part to achieve that goal. Married the gorgeous blonde. She won't get on it with me.
So close.
Yeah,
So close.
so missed it
So
by
close.
that much. So
Talk
so
about
there
an
you be.
ultimate backfire.
Yeah, little bit. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess you can make out in other places, but
Oh, that's
not
so
on the back of a
funny.
motorcycle at the
You're
marina.
so close, so close. Oh, I was pulling for you, dude.
I can sense in the ether that I'm losing followers the
I
longer that we go.
now just become the Michael and Brooke show at this
Yeah,
point.
that's right. That's right.
Okay, on that note, we will wrap it up here, ladies and gentlemen. Michael, it has been such a pleasure. Thank you so much, as always. Everyone, have a wonderful and wonderful. I can't even say wonderful at this point. We've lost. We're done.
You've changed
we're done.
the
We're
name to
done.
the Friday Feelings podcast.
The Friday's Feelings, something at this point podcast. I don't know what it is. Have a safe, have a wonderful weekend. And as always, find a way to serve today. Find a way to help your neighbor, your colleague, any way possible. It can be a kind smile. It can be opening up the door for someone, but find a way to serve today. Be safe this weekend. Everyone, we will see. We are off on Monday because it is a holiday. And to be quite honest, I need a break. So I'm taking a day for myself and I'm giving everyone else a day off. So everyone will be back on next Friday with some awesome guests. We have a super packed mega panel with some incredible females. I'm super excited to have them all on. And everyone, we will see you all next week. Thank you very much.